Hello, everybody. Today is Friday, March 31st, 2023, and this is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media. My name is Brian Engelman.
My name is Blake Walley.
We are going to be discussing Trump Watch 2023. The indictment of the ham sandwich has just occurred. There's all sorts of fun to unpack here as we're witnessing prosecutorial overreach on levels that are clearly, truly, literally unprecedented in these times. Let's break it all down in today's show. All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We certainly appreciate it. I'm going to make sure that you follow us in all of the places because, from day to day, week to week, you never know when big tech, little tech, as I like to call them, is going to go ahead and delete, demonetize, censor, shadow ban, and otherwise try to just throw you down the memory hole, the gulag of independent thought. So find us in all of the places. First off, Blake Walley is on Twitter. You can follow him at TV's Blake Walley, at TV's Blake Walley, Walley. Follow him there. Make sure that you're doing that. Now, the New American Media has an archive, thenewamericanmedia.com. That's a nice place to start. We have about 12 years of videos, youtube.com/the New American Media. That's because the old American media has failed. Our Twitter handle is at American_media_. I'm telling you these so that you can stop, you can pause, just quickly go through your thing and make sure you're connected with us. We need followers, we need subscribers, we need listeners, we need you to share with your friends. We want you to join our shows live. So if you're on our YouTube feed and you set the notification bell, you will get a notification that the Agree to Disagree show is live on YouTube. You'll get that notification on Twitter. You can watch us on Twitter. We're trying to get there on Rumble as well. So search the New American Media on Rumble. We're on Patreon, the New American Media. We are adding, what is it, Steemit, DTube, that other private one you said. I got to figure out how to do all that stuff. I've been working on it, but the one
just set up an account and connect it to the thing, and then it should be good to go. All right.
Perfect. One more thing. It'll be so easy.
D-Live, Twitch, and Pilled. Those are the next objectives.
D-Live, Twitched, and Pilled. But keep your eyes peeled for those. They're on their way very soon. And podcast. Yes, we are in podcast form. We're able to upload the video through, it used to be Anchor, but now it's through Spotify. So follow us there. Now, Blake, are we on Apple or is that a separate process? Are we only on Spotify? Are we on Apple Music? I don't even know how that podcast works.
It should be. I'll take a look at it. It should be 4 or 5, and usually Apple and Google are the two most popular, along with Spotify. And then it takes a little time to circulate, but it'll eventually be on iHeartRadio and maybe Stitcher and Podbean. There's a few other ones.
Yeah, so I mean, give it a shot, would you? Join the show, subscribe, participate, all that jazz. Now I'm actually here on YouTube. I'm trying to watch the show. It just keeps saying upcoming. There we go. Finally. Right. So many glitches when we do our shows, but anyhow, thank you for joining us. And
hello, Stephanie and Jocelyn. Yeah, Stephanie wasn't able to make today's show at this particular time, so this is the only way we could do it. This is kind of an impromptu thing. Wasn't really on the schedule, but in light of the breaking news last night, it seemed appropriate to try to squeeze something in, and here we are. So welcome.
Yes, in breaking news, it was baseball opening day yesterday. That's what we're here to talk about. It's clearly the number one story in the universe. Just kidding. Let's go to the number one story. Yeah. All right, that stinger might be a little loud. We might want to equalize that a little bit. It was like, I feel like that's
natural audio that it came with.
That's the Dolby surround sound, like when you're in a theater and it goes, and like your teeth are rattling.
I took I took a sound effect and played it in the normal way, and then I flipped it in reverse, so it's the same sound effect, forwards and then backwards. It came together nicely, but it is a little loud. But I'm not wearing headphones, so
see,
turn it
yeah,
down a little bit.
first world problems for me. So, Blake, do you agree or disagree? It's good that it's good for America that President Donald Trump has been indicted. Agree or disagree? It's good for America that President Donald Trump was indicted.
You know what? I'm going to go with baseball, and I'll throw a curveball. I'll say agree, because now it's going to wake people up and go, what the heck is going on? So I think everybody should be interested in a story of this magnitude. So yeah, it's bad for him. It's bad really for America on many levels that he was indicted, but maybe in the bigger, bolder picture, it's good, because now America needs to start picking a side here, and what future they want to go towards, and whether we're going to be America the Great Republic, or if we're going to be a banana republic, which seems like they are pushing things towards. So
wasn't Banana Republic a store in the mall?
It used to be. I don't know if they're still around anymore. There's not a lot of malls these days, not like it used to be. But yeah, they were thriving, at least in the 90s, when I used to go to malls a lot when I was in high school or whatever.
Yeah, but now you got to stay 400 feet away now, right? That's the court order, 400 feet away from mall. No, right. No, I remember getting a Banana Republic. I went for my job interview at the world's largest talent agency in Beverly Hills, and I had to dress nice. So I got a pair of nice dress pants and a dress shirt. It was a purple. I might even still have that shirt hanging up in the closet. I don't have much of an occasion to wear dressy clothes these days, but I remember Banana Republic. But yeah, America has kind of turned into a Banana Republic. But if you're going to blow Kennedy's brains out on live TV, I mean, haven't we been a Banana Republic for a long time?
And it wasn't live TV. It was a Zapruder film. And fortunately, some guy, Mr. Zapruder, was there with that antique projector or whatever it was.
Likely story. Okay, so I guess maybe my recollection of this has been blurred through the ages. This was not a live event. This was not being broadcast like the Space Shuttle Challenger that exploded and traumatized all of us in the early 80s. You're saying that was not on the news. It was kind of shown after the fact.
As far as I know, I think the Zapruder film there might be one other film. I don't know, but it wasn't like from NBC or anything. It was 1963. I don't know if they were prepared for that. It was just like a regular routine sort of visit. And they probably didn't want it televised given what they were perhaps planning that day. Well, that could be another angle of it. And it just happened to be Mr. Zapruder just was there with hey, I got this really cool video camera now. It's like the prelude or before the camcorder came out. So if he wasn't there, we wouldn't have any video footage from that.
Yeah, well, and we talked about it yesterday, how important it was that there was ample footage of Kyle Rittenhouse. Otherwise, he would have been framed for self-defense, two or three occasions of self-defense. Thank God that stuff was getting filmed. So, I mean, we hate the police state. We hate the surveillance state. We don't like George Orwell's 1984 becoming reality. But on the flip side, it's well, if everything's recorded, it's kind of nice that we're not going to get set up. It's like police have to wear the body cams. They're going to give you all the information of what happened, minus any sort of slant or sway or no, I heard this, I saw this, he did that, and then I reacted. It's just go to the videotape. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Let's just watch. But now we're in the world of AI deepfakes, and that's another story we could maybe get to a little bit later, because ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is being it's scaring the shit out of everybody right now, and maybe for good reason. So we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I would have to agree as well. I can't believe I'm saying such a thing. That I would agree that it's good for America that President Donald Trump has been indicted up in New York by that Alvin Bragg clown, Alvin and the Chipmunks guy. Like I was saying with JFK, I mean, how long has our country been a complete cluster? How long has this been a nation in distress, ruled by sociopaths, taking us to the brink of war, killing millions, the lies, the civil rights abuses? And by the way, when big tech, little tech, legacy media, when they're colluding to censor people and violate our First Amendment, our civil rights, there need to be massive punishments, the ones that can destroy companies, that could ruin them forever. We either defend the civil rights of people or we don't. And this has been such a massive overreach. I think it's time that you show it for what it is. Now, the flip side is, this is kind of my follow-up question, because yeah, I think it's good that we're peeling the Scooby-Doo mask off. You want to indict him over nothing? Statute of limitations had run out. There's not really even a crime that to be spoken of here. It's just a political hit job. It's the same thing, that they're trying to do to Bolsonaro with Lula. They bring Lula out of jail, and they're trying to get Bolsonaro thrown in there. I mean, we've reached Banana Republic territory. And like we said yesterday with Ford Fisher of News to Share getting his J6 footage into South Park. I mean, when the J6 sham investigation, that unselect committee kangaroo court, fails to do anything of value while holding on to potentially exculpatory evidence, while they paint a fantastical narrative that doesn't even mesh with reality. I mean, we have jumped the shark. J6 has jumped the shark. It was featured on South Park, for the love of God. Like, it's Cartoonville. So I want the Scooby-Doo mask to come off. I want Alvin Bragg and the Democrats with egg on their face over this. And I think it's time. I don't know the exact process to go after corrupt district attorneys across the country, the ones that downgrade all of these serious violent crime felonies, property loss and violent crime, and they're letting these people off with nothing. They're just tossing them back out in the streets. And we ran into this in Los Angeles. The bad people were getting arrested, attacking cops with hammers. They're out on the streets that same night. The neighborhood had no peace. We had no rest. We had no help. So I think it's time to pivot off of this and go on offense. So I guess that's my follow-up question to you, Blake. There's, I've been listening to quite a few people, as varied listener base as Styx Hexenhammer and Scott Adams and Glenn Greenwald. And, depending on the day, I'll listen to different content and soaking it up. But I was curious your thoughts on this topic that kind of keeps popping into all of these shows as I'm kind of doing some research here. Do you think, and we touched on this yesterday, Blake, do you think that the Republicans need to go on offense the way that the Democrats are? Eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Are we really still just going to keep turning the other cheek because the other side keeps kicking us below the belt?
Well, no, they should turn it around. Now they've got the House. It's too bad they didn't get the Senate too. But yeah, I think it's turnabout is fair play. Whatever that quote goes. Yeah, they wanted to start this. They set the precedent, and now it's the Republicans. It's fair game now. So they opened that doorway. So now they get to face the repercussions at some point, perhaps, if that's the game that they want to play. It's the FAFO, the fuck around and find out game, if they want to go there. They've kind of been pushing things towards civil war, national divorce, what have you, but they are really going for it with this political, absolutely purely political arrest of Donald Trump after the show trial of J6 and the 2 failed impeachments, and they couldn't get anything, and now they're just kind of desperately trying to grab, even though it's past the statute of limitations. It doesn't really make it. It's just a minor, tiny, stupid little thing. And now they're going to, they wanted to get their guy. And maybe it's also to distract from all the problems that with the country right now, or it's whether they've lost the narrative of January 6th, or if they're losing the war in Ukraine they've been funneling billions of dollars into, or whether it's the banking system that's teetering on the edge of collapse, or if it's the Tennessee shooting the other on Monday, and whether the planned day of vengeance coming up, and all of a sudden, like they're just getting crushed everywhere, and now they're going to go they're going to try to flip this around and arrest Trump so they can try to pose as the good guys here. But a desperate move by the desperate Democrats, and this could backfire spectacularly. So we're just waiting to see. So
okay, I'm getting a vision here. I'm seeing Space Ace in the comments, or Ghost Picker. Who are we? Ghost. Who are we talking to? Sorry, I'm scrolling through. They're talking about the T-shirt memes of President Trump in a mugshot, like if he's actually, if it ends up playing out that way. But what if we had, what if we coined the term "desperate crats"?
Oh,
instead of Democrats, desperate crats.
That's a possibility. Someone's
I can
got
see that on
get the artist, but
yeah, T-shirts or memes or something. Desperate crats, because they are completely desperate. They are completely lawless. They are completely corrupt. They are toxic. They are divisive. They are damaging. They don't improve a single thing that they touch. There is no fence sitting. I don't want to hear from anybody in 2023 who's undecided on a damn thing anymore. There is no black. There is no shades of gray. There are no 50 shades of gray here. This is black and white. This is left and right. It's blue and red. Pick a side. We have done this on several shows of the Agree to Disagree show, Blake. We have asked, how about you name us one thing that's better under Democrat leadership? Well, wait, just one thing. Go. That's rhetorical. As you put your hands up.
But there was a lot of things to win on when I was a Democrat in the early 2000s and the late 90s.
Gone.
We won all those things, and now they've lost the plot somewhere. So yeah, it was easy to argue against conservatives for the unjustified wars, for their religious hypocrisy, for saying that, you know, being gay was a choice and that people shouldn't get married if they want to, or, you know, marijuana is a gateway drug. And, you know, they had so many stupid things that they were arguing, but now everything is switched. It's two totally different parties now. So
yeah, we're talking about
changed. And now the Democrats are just gone totally off the rails. And I don't know what they're fighting for anymore.
Desperate crats. Yeah. And you know, they say JFK would not be welcome in his own party today. Bill Clinton wouldn't be welcome in this Democrat party today. He'd just
or
be
JFK, like you said, would be a crazy Tea Party lunatic.
Conspiracy theorist. You're maggot. You're a maggot. That's such a dumb slur that they use. In the comments section, by the way, watch us live. Twitter at American_media_ and on YouTube, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Follow us live and join the chats. MJ Sedona says, ooh, it's game on. All bets are off and more indictments coming. Fauci, Hillary, and the Biden crime family. Don't forget the Obamas. Don't forget Soros. Hey, if we're going there, let's go there. That's kind of why I was saying I'm disagreeing, or I will agree that it's good for America that this is happening. But I want the Republicans to get down and fight bare knuckles against the people that are trying to snuff them out. They got their elbow around them. They're trying to choke them out and drown them in the mud. This is life or death. I'm sure turn the other cheek works. I'm sure it's very nice. I get that in most situations, that's probably an ideal way to handle things. In this situation, they are trying to take you out. These people are, it's never been more clear. They're not going after Trump. They're going after all of us. And Trump is the only person standing in the way who hasn't been bribed, who hasn't been blackmailed, who hasn't been corrupted, hasn't been forced, hasn't been threatened, hasn't been convinced to join the dark side. He's actually fighting to kind of like stop this nonsense that's constantly being pushed on us from every single angle. They're not going after Trump. They're coming after us. He just happens to be in the way. So, I mean, people said this is going to make him more powerful than ever. I think that's absolutely happening. MJ Sedona, Jocelyn continues here. She says it will unify the torn Republican Party, and already Trump has received millions in donations for his presidential race. Yeah, I mean, I'm half tempted to donate. I don't really donate to anybody. I've donated maybe once in my life. But yeah, if we're doing the indictment game, where's the important stuff? Where's the list of people from the Epstein Island? How about all of this medical malpractice, all this information coming out in the Twitter files? And by the way, we're still waiting, Elon, on the Fauci files. Yeah, so, and no, I don't know how to respond to this comment as well. Leave your comments, please. Jocelyn, some video about Alvin Bragg. Yeah, something that looks like someone's being arrested. I don't know anything about that. We'll have to do a deep dive. I do a quick
It could
look.
be a deep fake. Yeah.
Everything could be a deep fake. Absolutely. But anyway, let's
I think
pivot
Jack
off of.
Posobiec's been putting some of those things out with Alvin Bragg or fake calls. So it's hard to differentiate, but that's kind of one of the dangers with the AI, which we will get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw one with Morgan Freeman, and it was nice, but it's clearly a deep fake. And I'm going, I don't like supporting this. I can still tell it's a deep fake, but it's getting closer and closer. And it's like, who are you going to believe? Your lying ears, your lying eyes, or the thing in front of you? So anyway, we'll pause on this. We'll give you more information as it comes out. I mean, just, and I guess there's there's 30 or 40 different allegations in this. It's just throwing all the spaghetti up against the 34, throwing all the spaghetti up against the wall, seeing if anything sticks. I mean, it just seems absolutely ridiculous. Like, these aren't even crimes we're talking about, and these are misdemeanors elevated to felonies that aren't felonies. Like, you're just going, we're in a crazy universe. We're in the bizarro world of Superman. Everything's backwards, Blake.
Yeah.
So
sure feels that way.
All right, we'll keep our eyes peeled on this, but we had to go live and talk about it because we've been discussing it for the past couple of weeks now. All right, next story.
Well, do you want to cover?
Or do I want to what? What was your question, Blake?
Well, I didn't know if you want to get into some of the articles and such. I can kind of buzz through a few of those just to give everybody the bullet points.
I'll pull it back up here. Yes. Let's bring some of these up.
Okay.
There's different comments, different clapbacks, different. There's a lot of angles to consider here.
Yeah. So we got Trump this is out of the Epic Times. Trump is indicted. Here's what happens to him next in court. Legal analysts have revealed what will happen after President Trump was indicted by district attorney office in Manhattan, saying that the former president will have to get his mugshot taken. So when someone is indicted, the charges are kept sealed by a judge until the defendant makes their first court appearance. Looks like they're scheduling that for maybe next Tuesday. So April 4th, I do believe. Trump's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, told the Epic Times that the former president is expected. Yeah, New York City, April 4th. I'll get his fingerprints. Blah, blah, blah. We've also got Trump will not take the plea deal, will not be handcuffed. That's according to Trump's attorney as well. Indictment stems from a 5-year investigation surrounding an alleged $130,000 hush money payment to porn actor Stormy Daniels, and whether the money was improperly recorded in business records, and if that improper recording was used to conceal or commit a second crime. Again, it's 34 counts is what is officially that we know so far, and we'll get more information on that once they bring them in. I just thought this was interesting. I don't know if you saw Jason Whitlock on Tucker Carlson talking about the country's turning into a communist Marxist hellhole. This is tyranny. This is bullshit. Absolutely. And we've got here's Stormy Daniels. She's cashing in on this. This is like the greatest thing that's ever happened to her. I don't know what she's complaining about. She's gotten a ton of money. So let's see what she's got. A little tweet here. Thank you to everyone for your support and love. So many messages, can't respond. Don't her champagne. Yeah, because of all the money and perhaps things she be selling merchandise. So thank you for that. Need a few extra days for shipments. So she is capitalizing on all that. And again,
question.
I guess that is,
Okay, champagne. She already made a statement saying that none of this ever happened, right?
Right.
Well, so this champagne is not, over what?
And to say this is not like Juanita Broderick. This is not like Tara Reid. Whether this thing happened or not, I don't think it did. She said it didn't. He said it didn't. I don't care. I don't care whether it did or didn't. But the thing is it's not like it was a sexual assault case. It wasn't rape. Like I said, it wasn't Juanita Broderick type of thing or a Tara Reid. It wasn't something like that where they had like a predator, Bill Clinton or Joe Biden forcing himself on her, and she's now finally getting to tell her teary testimony. No, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to her career. and now she's just trying to capitalize on it. But it's not about her getting being a victim or getting justice. So it's a totally different thing than what happened to the other presidents.
Well, Jocelyn here, she's asking the same thing. Didn't Stormy Daniels sign a non-disclosure agreement after she was paid off? And didn't she say that she lied? And by the way, it came from Cohen. This is a Cohen thing. Cohen's been proven to be a liar on the stand. We know that. Yes. Jocelyn continues here. There's a quote: "No one is above the law, and everyone has the right to a trial to prove innocence." That's from Nancy Pelosi. And she goes, but she has it wrong. In America, you're innocent unless proven guilty. 1,000,000,000%. Ask Judge Kavanaugh. Ask the Covington kid. Ask Kyle Rittenhouse. Lies, lies, lies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was actually next on my list was Pelosi says Trump needs to prove innocence after the indictment bounced. Totally crazy. I love this tweet response from Justin Amash, who says this is exactly backward. Under our justice system, no one has to prove innocence. The state must prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. You'd hope a former speaker would know the basics of law and be precise, especially in such an unprecedented and seemingly flimsy prosecution. It's also good to see that got the old ratio there, more comments than likes on her post. And the Babylon Bee was killing it. Today, a couple of articles saying we have to convict Trump on the charges to find out what is in them. And of course, Democrats remind everyone Trump is guilty until proven guilty. So, yeah, well done.
Yeah, I would say so. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, the Pelosi thing's pretty ridiculous. By the way, just for fun, Blake, this is a message to you. I feel like we need this positivity today from
yes, Hare Krishna,
Nave Maharaja Wally. Go dreadlock. Rastaman vibration positive.
So I should break up the Bob Marley shirt. I don't know how to do dreadlocks though. I'm getting a hair appointment next week. Maybe I'll ask about that.
Oh my, Supercuts. That's where I go. I go to Supercuts.
Are they still in business? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like a nice $21 haircut. Pretty quick. They kind of know what I get. It's pretty straightforward. It's nice and easy. Anyway, Space Ace in the comments here saying, Blake, I sent you a video via Twitter on how Trump being arrested was in a Q post in 2019. I don't know if you knew that, but remember, there's that one phrase: the first arrest will shock the world, right? Remember that? We've heard there's probably like 10 catchphrases: trust the plan, watch the water, the first arrest will shock the world. You know, you've heard these if you listen to certain pundits. But yeah, I mean, the first arrest will shock the world. But good Lord, I mean, if we don't have all the evidence you could possibly need on Obama and Clinton and Bush and I mean, just look around the wasteland of corrupt people who have been pulling the puppet strings for decades now. I mean, it's all right there. It's all sitting right there. If it's indictment time, all right, go ahead. You can put your old statute of limitations, non-crime accusations up against the heaping pile of steaming nonsense that these people have put out. So yeah. Jocelyn continues. She said, yeah, the problem is the charges themselves. With the true justice system, this would never happen. Until DC is completely rebuilt by we, the people, it'll keep happening to anyone who bucks their system. And I think you're right. And I think you're also right to suggest that maybe we should arrest Pelosi and let her prove her innocence. I kind of really like that concept. Let's arrest Pelosi and make her prove her innocence. So Blake, what are you planning on getting for a haircut, sir? Are you gonna go with the Beatles cut? Are you gonna go Edward Norton in American History X? Are you gonna go like Maynard James Keenan with the mohawk down the middle? Are you gonna trim your mustache into looking like an awful 1930s German guy? Are you going to do like the Flavor Saver and get rid of your mustache altogether? I mean, there's an infinite list of options that you could do with your hair. You could go blue or purple or green and become an elementary school teacher. The options are limitless. What are you going to go with?
Well, considering this is the first time in my life I've ever had long hair and how long it took me to grow it, I do intend on keeping it for at least a while longer. I might cut it next year when it's the big election year, and then perhaps Brian, you and me, and if Stephanie and whoever's part of the TNAM team wants to go on these little political journeys. Oh, and Ford Fisher and whoever, and all of our friends and associates and acquaintances, and we go run around. Maybe I'll do a different look next time, but I want to rock this long hair for as long as I can, or until it starts going gray or something like that. But
speaking of upcoming events in the TNAM team and the TNAM universe of colleagues and buddies, I believe we're going to be getting together with Anomaly in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for new video content. And yeah, I've kind of been reaching back out to people again. Reached out to Jimmy Church. He's off of coast to coast now, just doing his own thing. But yeah, just really starting to reach out to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who we've interviewed in the past, former guests, people we've crossed paths with at events. And yeah, I mean, next year's going to be a heck of a. I mean, it's already here, Blake. Like we're in the midst of the season. Like it is as crazy as it's been. It's just now warming up, and we're in the middle of it. I don't think there's going to be a single week off between now and the 2024 election when Trump is reelected. And you know, I don't see it happening any other way. It's a long way between now and then, but yeah, if we had to make a quick prognostication. So yeah, all right, keep us posted on your hair. We know we wanted you to do the what was it, Face Off? No, it was Con Air.
Right.
You're gonna do the Nicolas Cage in Con Air.
Okay, that's not a bad one. So I've already done the Snake Plissken, so I can do the Con Air, and then well, Jesus, I had to go with the Jesus look too.
Speaking of Anomaly, I mean, you guys could be cousins.
Oh yeah, it would be kind of weird. So Space Ace, I will take a look at that video. I don't know if I can play it right or not without displaying too much. I'll check that one out. I don't know if we want to play that on the air or not. I think it's about a 3-minute video, but we can. So I wouldn't be surprising if they did, predict that Trump would be an arrest here. So that would be an interesting prediction, but here we are. So who knows? Some people think that the QAnon stuff is from like AI from the future, or it's
AI from the future.
That's one of the theories. So, all right, well, that's cool. I will check that out. I don't know if we'll play that though.
Does past predict future? Does future predict past?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, history repeats itself.
History repeats itself again, says Kid Rock in his initial album about 3 different kids from 3 different men. History repeats itself again. Great song. All right, let's go to the next topic. We got a lot more to get through in our lightning round.
Okay.
All right. Blake, do you agree or disagree? Maricopa County has every right to block Kari Lake's legal team from inspecting signatures. Agree or disagree? Maricopa's county has every right to block Kari Lake's legal team from inspecting signatures from this last election.
Well, I guess I would have to say disagree, but I'm not I don't understand. I don't know the legal side of it. Certainly they don't want this out there. It would be great if Maricopa said, yeah, come on, take a look at everything. We have nothing to hide. Kari, you're fighting a losing battle, and we're going to show you no matter what angle you want to take a look at. Katie was the winner, clearly. So, but they don't want to do that. And so the Supreme Court is still, hearing aspects of, Kari Lake's case, because she's still she thinks she was the rightful governor and she was well up in the polls. Katie Hobbs didn't want to debate. As a Secretary of State running her own election with all the issues that they had in 2020 and with the machinery and the runback and the way that they were, running ballots without chain of custody. She has reasons to, call foul and to take a closer look at some of these things, to review the play. You'd be like, yeah, football, is a bad call on the field. Hey, that's okay. Let's review it. But now it looks like they are trying to hide it. They want to take a look at those signatures.
This is the tweet from
full of votes. We should know that those are in fact legitimate. It's totally different than when it used to be. You actually had to show up in person. May or may not show an ID. You probably should, but even if you didn't, you still
you don't walk into a concert without a ticket. You don't walk into a movie without a ticket. You don't get onto an airplane without going through TSA. You don't do anything without showing who you are, except for voting. You got to be kidding me. Like that's a non-starter. Anybody that takes a position like that is not a serious person. This is the Twitter post from 54 minutes ago from Kari Lake, one of the more impressive politicians I've seen in the past couple decades, and they're claiming that somebody else defeated her, and they're in the process of disputing that and going through the court system. So her press release says, "What are they hiding? Maricopa County refuses to allow Kari Lake legal team to inspect ballot signatures. It is said that the cover-up is worse than the crime. Maricopa County certainly seems willing to test that theory. Since I announced my candidacy for governor, Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer and Board of Supervisors Chairman Bill Gates, no, not that one, have done everything in their power to subvert our election process and try to defeat me. They even went as far as starting a super PAC dedicated to destroying our movement." By the way, if you got the county recorder and the Board of Supervisors chairman teaming up against you, you're supposed to recuse yourself and step aside if you can't do your job neutrally. This is clearly not the case. Back to the press release. It says, "Now they're stonewalling our efforts to review these ballot envelopes because they know the signatures won't match. These men believe that they are accountable to no one, not even the voters they swore to represent. This continued obstruction is making a mockery of the law and is a slap in the face to Arizonans or Americans. This is the smoking gun that they have been desperately attempting to bury. Unfortunately for them, I'm not backing down. I will not stop fighting until the full extent of Maricopa County's corruption is revealed for the world to use." So I'm going to go ahead and tweet that out. Make sure that you are following us on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley. So yeah, this is Kari Lake continuing from 2 hours ago. Maricopa County confirmed what we all knew to be true. Ballot signatures do not match. Election officials are brazenly hiding evidence from us. And then the reply is that Maricopa County is so afraid of the signatures to be inspected because they know that it's game over for them once they are. Lock them all up, all of them. Now, you got to see it to compare them. And the last thing you need is giving anybody extra time to go back and try to forge and try to cover up your tracks. I mean, that's certainly something people could do. But if the judges ruled that that's information that every single election should be verifiable. Every single election should be open for a clear, clean, honest recount. That's just basic. You must show an ID to vote, and you must have the source code for any system that's doing any sort of algorithmic computer processes that are tabulating. I think they all need to be paper ballots. You put them in boxes, you tabulate the boxes, you add the boxes, you call it a day. You got a question, you go back to box number 37 and you do a recount. Equal number of Republicans, equal number of Libertarians, or not, non two-party people and someone from the Democrats, and you go through it together. Anything else is just completely untrustworthy. If you can't review the data, how are you ever to expect? How could we be expected to believe what we're being told? It's just stunning what we're supposed to do. I mean, President Trump had a lot of reasons given why he looked at the election in 2020 and saw all of these major swing states pause at roughly the same time. He was up by 5, 10, 15% in all these places, only to watch that lead flip over in the next couple of days. And you're going, okay, this makes no sense. I've never seen this before. It doesn't pass the sniff test. Speaking of sniff tests, Joe Biden wasn't doing anything as far as campaigning. There was no motivation or energy behind him. Trump's filling up raceways and stadiums, auditoriums all across the country. I mean, you got to be kidding me, Blake. So when there are disputes in the election process and it's hard to do a full forensic audit, I mean, what's left for us if we don't have faith in the system? What are we supposed to do here? I feel like we've reached a crossroads, a very pivotal crossroads.
Yeah, it's either a national divorce or a revolution of some kind, hopefully nonviolent. But yeah, we can't live together and we can't agree on things, and there's double standards. I don't know what we do. That's where we're figuring out in real time. Like, wow, we have some problems. We've been more divided than ever. in this country, and it looks like there's some, it's not even transparent the way that they're doing some of this stuff. It's like just open corruption in our face, and we're just expected to go along with it. And we've had questions about this. We're not like allowed to talk about it. We get censored. We get in trouble, and now they're going to indict them over some bogus stuff in New York next week. So they're declaring war on us. And unfortunately, it seems like we don't really have a chance at the ballot box. And if they don't have any reason to be transparent about their process, which makes it even more suspicious. So what do we do? Because I'd like to think that we can wait till 2024, do this the right way, if they'll agree to the conditions and keep this open and let the audits be transparent, then we can agree on it. I wouldn't have a problem with it if they could show conclusively that these are the results and there's, that they got it. It's all legitimate, and we'll just have to deal with it and try to, make a better strategy next time. I'm great with that.
Yep. That's the way it's supposed to be. You and I we're sports fans. Look, the thing that you want to see is you want to see a competition decided on the field, on the course, on the rink, in the ballpark, whatever it is. You want to see it happen, and you don't want to be able to walk away and go, you know what, that team got cheated, that team got robbed. That's the last thing. That's such an awful feeling. It just ruins the spirit of competition, and it ruins the desire to participate or even just be a part of the system when you realize it's not being run appropriately. This is corrupt. This is not okay. That's not a good way to run anything. And the fact that we don't have a mechanism to quickly take a national election up to a Supreme Court that can hear a case and take a look at what's going on instead of just quickly pushing everything through. That's even if you look at everything, the Supreme Court looks at it and says, look, we've investigated these claims, and based on this, we're not going to be able to. At least you want a ruling on it. You want the judges to take a look at hey, you know what? I think that ball hit the line. Can we go to the replay? Can we do? No. I think it was a foul, but I think it hit the foul line, which means it's a fair ball. Like, that counts. You called it out. Like, let's double check that. I got 2 feet in. I had possession. Can we see the replay, the videotape? Yeah, well, let's go dig through the boxes and compare the signatures. That's basic. There's nothing wrong with that. And anybody that's trying to hide and prevent you from getting that information is super, super suspect. Jocelyn here, she adds what we were talking about in the previous story. History doesn't exactly repeat itself, but it does rhyme. That is a great quote. I don't know who that's attributed to. It sounds like a Zach De La Rocha lyric or something, but it is a good line either way. She continues, Katie Hobbs has been the worst governor. Yeah, between her at governor and Biden is the resident of the White House. I mean, goodness. She says, Katie Hobbs just vetoed a bill to tax groceries. Earlier, she vetoed a bill to fund education for special needs students. Okay. Well, I mean, cool voting demographic. Cool way to take a stand there. She continues, if Kari Lake doesn't claim her rightful place as governor, it's a good bet that she will be running as senator. Yeah, maybe as a senator or as a vice president with Donald Trump. That would
I don't think you can get a fair vote in Maricopa, but that could be switch. It could change. And I'm going to actually share one more article since we're on that subject. Is huge that Arizona House has joined the Arizona Senate in passing a resolution to ban foreign voting machines.
Yes.
Source code, ballot images, chain of custody documents, and log files to be made public. I mean, I don't mind losing an election, but just so just show it transparent. Or like you said, if it's a foul ball or a home run, that's fine. But let's make sure that it's definitive when we can all agree. But it seems like I'm glad at least they've put challenges in some of these games, whether that's football or baseball. Nobody wants to see it decided by the whether that's fighting or football or basket. Every time there's a basketball game, there's always people complain about the fouls on both sides, and no one can ever agree the victor should be unless it was a blowout. So yeah, we definitely get on the same page, and it should be so easy. It's going to be time consuming, of course, but to make sure that we have integrity in our voting process. Otherwise, I see no reason to vote. I see no reason for Kari Lake to run as a senator until they can make these changes. But yeah, I think she'd be perfect as the VP. Be a fantastic choice. Go Kari Lake.
And Jocelyn adds to wrap up this story, Maricopa County election officials are hiding the truth by refusing to allow Lake's legal team to inspect the ballot signatures. So, yeah, we are going to keep an eye on all this, and we'll see. All right, moving on. Let's go to the next story here. We got a couple more we want to get to. These are all important. They're all important stories, I swear. All right, Blake, do you agree or disagree that it's a good idea to cancel the Day of Vengeance? Agree or disagree? It's a good idea to cancel the Day of Vengeance.
Definitely going to agree. I don't think this was, it'd be one thing if it was kind of flying under the radar. We did talk about it because originally it was like a Daily Wire article that we covered. It was from a couple of weeks ago, and nobody was really talking about it until the Nashville shooter this Monday. And all of a sudden, whoa, kind of a wake-up call. And now we have to take a look at this. And now that it's been exposed on the national scale, there's a lot of death threats, a lot of issues. I don't agree with a lot of that, but now that we've held it up to the light, it's probably we thought about it, and they've thought about it, and they don't have the resources to, have security to protect them, but they're out with, openly with all their guns and everything, which is their right. But I mean, under the circumstances and under the timing of the Nashville thing, it's a good idea for everybody to just chill out. Let's rethink this strategy and how we want to promote ourselves going forward. Didn't do anything good. It wasn't a positive thing for the that community, which is actually going to be splitting. Brian, I don't know if you want to make a comment here, because I will show a couple of the articles that I found on that, or a couple of highlights.
Well, yes, I had a couple of things to say, but let's see here. This is a comment from Jocelyn saying it's an absolutely good idea to cancel. They were planning on having guns. Now there's going to be unrest due to Trump's arrest. Would have been a powder keg.
You can't have guns in D.C. That would be major. Plus, they'd be getting in trouble, I would think.
Don't we have a Second Amendment in this country?
But I think D.C. has got a different thing. You can't go open carry out there. Remember what happened to Adam Kokesh when he pumped that shotgun and then he got arrested a few weeks later. So yeah, publicity stunt. But DC is very strict. DC is not like the rest of the country. So they have a different set of laws.
Yeah, who owns DC? Is that the British Crown?
It's like a federal thing, or
yeah, but is it the British Crown?
Puerto Rico or something? It's some weird different law that they have there. I don't know. So I just assume stay out of there. I certainly wouldn't want to go there with holding a firearm.
No, I think this Day of Vengeance thing is pretty vile. You saw that Karine Jean-Pierre was out there. Instead of talking about the Christian community being under attack, she wanted to discuss how the murderers community is under attack, allegedly. And I'm hearing bits and pieces from the manifesto. I can't quite confirm or deny, but there's a lot of hateful anti-Christian rhetoric going around. One of the phrases that kind of stuck with me were about killing
Christ cucks.
Christ cucks. Yes, you've been hearing that too. So yeah. This is a straight assault. Pardon the pun. This is a 100% assault on every American Christian from this radicalized, violent group. I mean, look, the Democrats and the media, they could stop this in a heartbeat. You don't need to give this stuff attention. You don't need to constantly trot these people out there during Women's Week and during women's swim meets and the ESPYs, and like this has been a nonstop push to normalize people dressing as people in other genders since Barack Obama came into office. Some would say that's coincidence. Some would say there's a very specific reason for that. But this issue, I mean, you had Klinger on MASH.
Yep.
Nobody cared. You had Rocky Horror Picture Show. Dudes dressed as ladies. Okay. Aerosmith. Dude looks like a lady. Cool. Like, like people did
Boy
what they
George,
did.
Liberace, Elton
Marilyn
John.
Manson. Yeah. Like this androgynous kind of thing. And you're just like, whatever. But then it's like, I want to be in the bathroom with your little girl. It's like, nah, bro. Nope. They fired ESPN, ABC, Disney fired Kurt Schilling because he thought that was a bad idea. They took the All-Star game away in Charlotte because they didn't want to have dudes in the bathroom with 7-year-old girls. Okay. Wow. That's such bigotry. I don't know how much more we could be gaslit to try to believe that there's not a problem here. All the media would have to do is just make sense on the issue, and this would stop. This would go away instantly, because I don't know many people that would argue that an 18-year-old adult shouldn't have the right to express themselves and live their life to their highest, capability. Let's go for it. But
yeah, I think there could be a rift in that LGBTQ plus whole community, and I will get to that.
Plus
that would be a huge move. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did see that LGB minus LGB. Leave it at LGB.
Yep. Get rid of
all of the rest. All of the rest. Yeah, I mean, there's gays against groomers. There's libs of TikTok. Like, there's a split.
Gays for Trump, which we interviewed in Cleveland in 2016 at the RNC.
Yeah, Milo was there.
Gay community is great, and they don't want to be, associated with these more radical types that don't make any sense to them. And they don't want to be lumped in with that, and I don't blame them. And since we're on the subject now, I'm going to cover that. So let's see here. What do we have? So Day of Vengeance canceled to preserve the safety of the trans community. So a trans rights group that has organized the Day of Vengeance has canceled the event, threatened to life and safety of trans people following the killing of 3 children and 3 Christian teachers by a trans identifying individual. So that went down. Also to notice, this is out of Breitbart, 4 transsexual mass shooters in less than 5 years. We covered this a couple days ago. We didn't really want to show the picture necessarily.
What was the 5 years part of that? I'm sorry. What was 5 years?
Yeah, in less than 5 years, we've had
4. Okay.
4 trans shooters.
Well, I mean, look, we shared this on the Twitter feed. It's gender dysphoria. It's in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. It is a mental condition. It is something that people suffer from, and this has been elevated into stunning and brave territory. And it's like, I lend my heart to the people that feel as though they're not okay how they are, because you are okay how you are. If you have functional physiology, you don't need to cut those things off. You don't need like that. That's how you urinate. That's how you reproduce. Like there's you shouldn't be carving pieces of your body off and mutilating your. And look, if you should so choose to do this with your own money, not tax dollars, when you're 18, not a day before 18. I mean, I really wish there might be some reconsideration there. I don't think that's ever going to be a great idea, but if you so choose to under those terms, what am I going to do? What am I'm supposed to just try to stop you? No, like you're going to do what you're going to do. But when you try to start confusing children and pushing this stuff on them, like this becomes a religion. The left seems to really dislike the part of Christianity where it's like winning souls to the Lord. I want to win, John 3:16, and would you accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior and become saved, born again, and just kind of hit reset on your life. And all right, well, I appreciate my standing in the cosmos, and with your permission, dear Lord Jesus Christ, the Heavenly Father above, I'd like to kind of hit reset, forgive me, and I'd like to become a better person. Cool. they don't like winning souls to the Lord, like talking to your neighbors or talking to your coworkers and like, hey, you should come to my church, or hey, have you ever considered becoming born again? You wonder what happens when you die. They don't like that. They like certain people on the left. They just recoil from that. It's like splashing holy water on them. To the point where they have become evangelicals toward the trans cause, toward the Skittles people, the rainbow people, the alphabet people, whatever they're called. You can't go into classrooms without all of these flags and Marxist fists, and it's being pushed upon people in elementary school. I got to witness this firsthand. I was blown away with all of these non-US flags, all of the hair dye. And it's just, it is a full-on assault to try to convince little kids to join your team. That's called grooming. And they hated being called groomers. Oh, well, I'm so sorry that the Nashville shooter hates being called a murderer or a demon, because you are a murderous demon. I'm going to say it. So when you have adults really pushing what's essentially in many cases a sexual kink, a gender dysphoria medical condition where they don't feel as though reality is reality and they want to live a different way. I mean, there's a big difference between just putting on makeup or wearing clothing that fits a different, one sex or the other, versus what's been happening since Barack Obama became president. Perhaps coincidentally, this issue of being transgender and making this acceptable has been, it's been the number one push from the globalists for some reason. And it's very strange. It's very disconcerting. And the repercussions, they seem to be mounting at this point. MJ Sedona says the group purports to seek revenge, talking about the Day of Vengeance. The group purports to seek revenge for what they term trans genocide, and the group behind the Day of Vengeance raised money for gun training. So what were they planning? That is a good question. What were they planning, do you think?
Yeah, I'd be curious to get that manifesto. I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it. And it seems like they're trying to push some sort of propaganda that, white Christian nationalists are the enemy, and they're going to get their vengeance on people. No, so we just want to have the conversation. I'm not trying to judge anybody for their lifestyle. I genuinely understand. So if we can get on the same page, we can get along.
But there is no getting along with someone that wants to cut the boobs off of a little girl and to cut the penis off of a little boy. There is no middle ground on saying that protecting impressionable kids whose brains have not fully developed yet from groomers. Yeah, I think that's like the number one thing we should be focused on. You got to protect kids. And if you become an adult and want to continue to go through whatever you want to go through, happy birthday. You want to get face tattoos? Get face tattoos. I mean, there are people that have some of their limbs amputated. They feel like there's a medical condition where they feel like they shouldn't have arms or digits, and they, but at some point you really have to start holding some of these. What's that?
Phantom limb syndrome.
Yeah, and at some point though, you got to wonder, like when you take a Hippocratic oath to help people, what are the repercussions going to be for any doctor that's going to cut the mammaries off of a little girl, or the testes and the penis off of a boy to put in like just a mangled? I mean, like this is it's
in certain cases
abuse.
There might be a reason for that, but extreme cases, and it's just,
what case would somebody want to cut off their
I don't know,
twig and berries?
It's not a good idea.
I'm not quite following it. But MJ Sedona asks, why did the mainstream media ban the world? I mean, by the way, let's not call them that. Why did the lying legacy media, the lying corporate media, the Democrat-controlled student teacher backed media, why did they ban the word transgender from stories about the Nashville shooting? That's a great question. It's almost like they're pushing an agenda nonstop. She continues, SoCal Antifa is promoting their own Day of Vengeance celebration tonight at 5 p.m. in Hollywood. Oh, well, that's so super. I actually just talked with AJ about that yesterday, about escaping Los Angeles. He's like, yeah, I was going to leave, but then I found a place called Orange County, and it's really nice down here. I'm like, yeah, well, I found a place called Louisville, Kentucky, and I can stretch out and have a little backyard. I don't know. It ain't much, but it's not Los Angeles. I'll take it. But all right. So to all of you out there in Hollywood, I think you need to be prepared. And I think the importance of releasing the manifesto is that if, let's get back to that Scott Adams snafu from a couple of weeks ago. There's a Rasmussen poll, and you kind of, maybe had a slightly different take than I did on that one, Blake, maybe not relying on how the data purported, but, it said roughly half of the people surveyed could not say it's okay to be white. And so Scott Adams was making a point saying, well, if there's a community where 1 in 2 people, roughly half the people, are not okay with you existing, you might want to leave that community because they hate you. They despise you. They've been brainwashed against you. The schools, social media, lying legacy media, the Democrat Party, all the same thing, I contend. They have all tried to destroy your brain, damage you, and convince you, warp your head to think that you need to hate these other people. And so since that's been happening, maybe we'd be smart to know about it. And so if this manifesto is, broadly in this community, just bashing Christ cucks and other derogatory slang for Christians, I think every Christian needs to hear this. We need to know how serious this threat is. And I think people need to go out there and get the tools they need to keep their family safe. They need to get the training necessary to make sure that they're available to stand up and be a hero and not cower like an Uvalde. And, at any singular moment, whether it's a grocery store or Maxine Waters, at a gasoline station, you need to be ready to defend yourself and your loved ones at any moment, because there are mentally ill people who have been brainwashed by the Democrat Party, the teachers unions, lying legacy media, and social media to turn you into violent rage machines. If you cannot break free of that matrix, I'm so sorry, because life is so much better if you just give it a chance. But if you can't change people quickly, you have to be aware that they're around every corner, behind every blade of grass. You can't let your guard down. You can't get to the best that you can. Don't get your head smashed with a cinder block walking down the sidewalk. Don't get pushed in front of a subway when you're in the city. Don't get harassed by raving, frothing, racist lunatics on the subway. We're seeing these stories every single day on Twitter. They're not letting up. They're not letting up, and the hate machine is real. This is direct result of Barack Obama's leadership behind the scenes. He's been the most divisive political figure I have ever seen. And I think this divisive tribal politics, this rage bait, this race bait, anything that can take small fringe minority groups, such as the T's and the LGBTQIA plus groupings, this is their plan. This is exactly what they're going for. Blake, you said, can you elaborate on that for a second, though? You're saying that the T to LGB, but minus the T and the Q. Did you have an article on that? Did you have something in mind to reference that?
Really just had the graphic there on Twitter, if people can see that. So it's about knowing the difference. We don't hold the same values. We are two different groups of people. And that's the hashtag there is LGB without the T or the Q or the plus. And I'm not even really sure what does it mean? I don't know, queer, does it even matter? I don't know, but it is a real thing. There are people that are just born that way. They just have, feelings towards the same sex, and there's nothing wrong with that. They are people that are allowed to go live their lives, but not to go, the grooming thing or, the gender dysphoria. So let's go over this. The LGB is saying it's a sexuality, not an identity. And they want equality, not privileges. They weren't lesbian, gay, or bi. They're not changed into. They are not attracted by gender identity, only by biological sex. It is not a medical condition. Sexuality can't be changed. And homosexuality and bisexuality are not a disorder. Versus the difference between the T, the Q, and the plus is where they do focus on gender identity. They want privileges like bathrooms, women's sports, kids' education, focus on pronouns, that kind of dread story hours, grooming, as you said. Some are suffering from body dysmorphic disorder. Attraction, sexuality, and gender are a spectrum. They usually need medical treatment to change their identity, and they use gender ideology. And of course, said the plus, that kind of means that they are minor attracted people. Is that what the plus is?
Pedophiles, the most disgusting type of human that slithers across the earth. Somebody who would abuse a child. Yes.
Yeah. So there we go. They're showing the difference. And there's
it's such a vile concept that they can't even put MAP. They put plus because they can't even bring themselves to try it. They're not attempting necromancy. They're not attempting. I guess necromancy is what, bringing someone back from the dead. What's the term? Necrophilia. They're not attempting that for,
herb undertakers. Yeah.
So, I mean, interspecies with animals. I mean, we haven't gotten there, but there were people decades ago that said, look, marriage is a man and a woman. If two men or two women want to engage in a civil union and have the same rights and legal benefits to be in a home, and okay, cool, like do that. But, just here's a term for marriage. Here's a term for civil union. They said, nope, it must be all the same. Everything is the same. Everything's always the same. And you're like, it's just not, though. I'm growing potatoes in the garden. I'm growing onions in the garden. One is different. I'm growing carrots. They're just different. It's not that one is evil, or they're just call them something different. Not everything is a potato because it's from the garden. But no, they said everything is the same, and people warn. They go, man, this is a slippery slope. Oh, you Christ cocks. Oh, there's no such thing as a slippery slope. You just give us a little bit here. And now we're at the point we're talking about minor attracted people. Once again, just for the listeners out there, my Facebook account was suspended and my reach limited after my page was disabled 2 years ago with no cause. They called me an adult sexual abuser because I shared a Hunter Biden meme holding balloons. They just don't like Hunter Biden being in the news, so they silenced me. So, yeah, I mean, we're in a strange place right now. MJ Sedona saying they're just making people hate trans people. I don't get the point. And then it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to hate the trans community. Yeah, there's people that have issues, but yeah, you got to be positive. You got to put out your message in a way that people understand you, not just go for violence. Or like you saw what Alex Stein 99 trying to go, have a conversation with people, and they're just throwing coffee in his face. Like, how does that move anything forward if we can't get to know each other? So
I will say that is interesting what Jocelyn said. It's interesting they had this plan, the Day of Vengeance, on April Fool's Day, eh? Okay, well, yeah. Maybe the joke's on us. But she says pretty much the whole weekend is going to be a trans lefty freakout time. Probably this summer too. The new summer of love incoming. So, all right, cool. Another story or three, and then we're gonna wrap this up for the day, sir. All right, this is a story that we covered yesterday, I believe, after you had to bounce, Blake. We were talking about Elon Musk and all sorts of prominent individuals, including those at the upper echelon of Apple and all the important players in tech. They're saying that we should really put a 6-month moratorium on artificial intelligence. They're getting creeped out by what's happening, and I think they're ahead of the curve. They know what's actually going on. They see the cloned bodies like in the Matrix. They're seeing sentient beings. They have access to stuff that we're only getting the. I think they're probably 10, 20 years ahead of us. And it's just a matter of what DARPA lets us get glimpses of once it can become financially viable for corporations to incorporate that technology into services that we could then pay for the privilege of owning and paying a monthly fee on, such as our smartphones and whatnot. And then they recoup their investment for research and development that way. It's a fascinating subject. I've been following it my entire life. I love it. I love space exploration and all this stuff. But Blake, do you agree or disagree that Italy banning ChatGPT is a harbinger of things to come? Do you think Italy banning ChatGPT is it's going to be predictive of more artificial intelligence being banned by other places across the earth?
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of that as we continue. The AI got really good really quickly, and we're seeing it not only in the written form with the ChatGPT, but also with the deep fakes and with the audio. We saw that Kanye West. You can make a video with Kanye West's voice. You can
That is
make.
wild.
Was it?
Do you
Morgan
have that
Freeman?
video? Did we put that in the Telegram group, or like, do we have that? Because this one guy, he programmed it to say, all right, I'm going to write some lyrics, and I want it to be performed by Kanye West, and he created this song, and it was a Kanye song. It was wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So, but that just shows it's just the beginning. It's only going to get better from there, and that was kind of his warning. Just imagine how good it's going to get going forward. So you're never going to be able to tell if you get a phone call. But I mean, the visual one's also unusual. We've seen deep fakes with Joe Biden, where it's so close. Or Tucker Carlson, they can make a broadcast. They can do the voices. Because I mean, it used to be like just even a year ago, less than a year ago, you could watch some of those cheesy YouTube videos where they use the AI voice, and you can tell it's just ridiculous. But now you don't know. Some of the AI is so good. They have like these Jasper technologies and stuff where you could really, put that information out with these really good voices too. So it's going to fool people easily, and that could be dangerous because they could cause people to go into a panic or do something bad, depending on how you use it. Or it could be used, psychological warfare. It could be used by your enemies. Imagine if like Iran or China wanted to run some kind of a hoax, and it was like a fake Trump video or fake Biden video. You're going to fool some people.
Well, and you wonder, some of the concern is that, and maybe this TikTok ban is corresponding to the AI ban, because they're just going, all right, hold on a second. We need to secure all of social media, because the contagion is in the system. The ghost is in the machine. You cannot unscramble these eggs. The AI is incorporated into all these. We need to pause it, and we need to identify it. We need to root it out. We're getting a comment here in the YouTube channel. It's not on our screen over here, but it is over here. It says, Ghost Picker is saying, if Elon Musk says AI is bad, it's real bad. Yeah, I mean, that's the guy that's trying to implant chips into your brain with Neuralink and stuff. Absolutely next level. By the way, Stephanie's adding that she's hearing Trump will be arraigned Tuesday in New York City. So, yeah, I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be leading a charge out there. Let's see how that goes. Feel free to participate and make your voices heard peacefully and patriotically, folks. But beware that the people next to you that are going to hand you rocks or bricks or grenades or Molotov cocktails, don't trust any super pretty woman batting their eyes at you who's ideologically aligned, whether that's online or in person, because they're likely a Fed. Don't surround yourself with people that are acting violent, because you might be getting set up like they did on J6. Be aware, be smart, be sharp about all of these things. Please, please, please. MJ Sedona is continuing here, saying that Italy banned ChatGPT because of the unlawful collection of personal data. So, that's another one that sounds good, but is that really the reason that it's happening? I don't know. She continues, JP Morgan Chase & Co. is restricting staff from using the ChatGPT chatbot this week too. So that's interesting. I know one of the big concerns with AI is that if you could have artificial intelligence deliver the news, they could do a much better job of swaying public opinion than a completely discredited Rachel Maddow, or an abrasive personality like Tucker Carlson that the left sees and they're instantly turned off by. But if it was used through AI and you could twist these stories, maybe you could get a whole bunch of different people to gain different opinions on the subject. I think that's one of the biggest concerns as well, Blake.
Yeah, certainly. So there's a lot of reasons to be cautious with this technology. Yeah, there's so many things that it can do that's amazing, especially the way that it can just write long story, or the art that it does. The pictures are showing like Trump has been arrested. I mean, some of those look really convincing. If you went back in time just a few years ago and you had some of those pictures, I mean, that would really freak people out. I mean, it still freaks people out now. It's amazing that it can come up with art and write movies and poetry and just in seconds. It's breathtaking. So it could be really used against us badly, and that's terrifying. So yeah, probably better to pause this and to everybody worldwide maybe agree on not using this kind of technology, or how we're going to use it, or how do we identify it so it doesn't get used against us. But then you also got to worry about some kind of singularity. The AI starts working against us, or it could be used by some other species, perhaps. If there are aliens out there, they might just do it for their own amusement. I don't know. So it's better not to go down that road, I would think.
Well, we've talked about the plot line to the Moon Saloon. Yeah, it makes you wonder about the reality of what we're living through right here. Blake, there are two stories that we didn't get to from yesterday, and I know we have a couple minutes, and then we're going to bounce you out of here. Did you have any thoughts on this one? I think these are two that Stephanie and I covered. No, we did. Stephanie and I did, but we wanted to get your take. Would you agree or disagree? Final two topics here. Agree or disagree that $5 million per California resident for reparations will make everyone happy?
Disagree. I don't.
By the way, hold on. Before you get into the reason why, I love when you chuckle at how I frame and phrase these things. Like I get you a good percentage of the time, because yes, we got to make clear, bold stands, agree or disagree. But yeah, will it make everyone happy? You're going to disagree.
Yeah, it's like double negatives or what have you. Yeah, so all residents, probably not. If that includes everybody, now the people that are getting reparations, I'm sure they should be happy with that kind of money. Just don't know how they can afford it. It's just ridiculous. I'm just like, hey, go for it. Let's just watch this experiment. Let's let just California implode on itself. I think it'd be hilarious in one sense. So I don't know, bring it, but it's a breathtaking that they want to like raise the rates, or they were going to give a few million and that wasn't enough. So, or was it 600,000? I forgot. What was that? What they thought would be fair at first, and now they're like, no, let's say 5 million. So they're going to give $5 million. I don't know if it was all just for people in San Francisco or whether that included the entire state, but the amount of that would cost the taxpayers, the inflation, and what that would happen. It'd also be funny, they did the sketch with the Dave Chappelle show many years ago where they talked about getting the reparations. And that was hysterical to see, just an experiment. It was a comedy of what could potentially happen. And I'm all there for it. I think just get the popcorn ready. Let's just do it. It's the end of the civilization. Let's just go out with a bang. Why not?
Bring our popcorn and our wine up to the hillside and watch it all burn down.
Let's watch California just,
Yeah, well, it's a lot like when Bernie's like, oh, we need to fight for a $15 minimum wage, $20 minimum wage. I'm like, oh, how dare you? This guy doesn't care about people. It should be a $50 minimum wage, minimum $50 an hour minimum wage, $500 minimum wage. Don't you care about the children and the single mothers? You heartless bastard. $5 million an hour, or else you hate people. Do you hate people? Then you must back our plan for $5 billion per hour, or else the banks will implode. I mean, it's just that there's no number that will placate anybody. There's just not. And what is the right number for people who were not slaves to get money from people who didn't have slaves in a state that didn't have slavery? What are you doing? What in the actual Christ are you doing? Can I use that phrase now, that since that's becoming, we got to out that community for hating on Christians. So we got to turn that word into
violent minority. Right. That is.
Wait. So hold on. I'm having this thought as I'm thinking out loud. Just like how there's a certain word that you're not supposed to say in a certain community, but then that community like embraces that word and puts it in, popular culture and talks to other people and uses that word for, like, instead of saying dude, it's like, what up, word? What up, dude? Could we co-opt that phrase and be like, what up, Christ cuck? Do you think is that a thing that could catch on? Could we get a line of merchandise like proud Christ cuck and proud of it?
In a few small circles, maybe they could get away with that stuff, but no, it's just blatantly offensive.
Going back over here to the YouTube channel, Ghost Picker chimed in to the previous thing we were talking about and says, unfortunately, he's a sucker when it comes to a beautiful woman batting her eyes. He would be a horrible spy. Jocelyn says, schools and universities are banning ChatGPT because they say students could use it to cheat.
Oh,
Well,
easy. Yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, though, why are people even going to schools and universities? All the information's online. Get away from these groomers. Get away from these people trying to confuse your kids. You could have a good education online and minus the indoctrination. I think if you fix the indoctrination, you can fix the nation. Jocelyn continues, I wonder if medical science and science and journals are listing ChatGPT as co-authors on research papers. They certainly are using AI for research. That's interesting. I wonder, like, what if a musician co-wrote a song with AI? Like, do you have to give it royalty credit? Do you just claim that as your own? Like, how would you do that with royalties, Blake? So many questions.
I think they would claim that as their own. And yeah, or they wouldn't want to admit it. I mean, what would you even share it with? But that could be interesting. I mean, and there's what was interesting before they made it like into a woke thing. Now, when the ChatGPT was originally disseminating information that it was picking up online, what was awesome about it at first was I thought that they were going to, get to the truth. Would, look at all the information that's out there, and it seemed like they were, changing the narrative on certain issues, and then the leftists freaking out because it was a narrative that they wanted. And so then they turned it into a woke thing, and then it became a double standard where you could, make fun of Republicans, Christians, Trump, or anything you wanted.
Straight people, white people, men. It's like everything I am, I check the box off. I'm like, what did I do to anybody? All I'm doing is existing over here. And I got these people that are like frothing at the mouth and hate me. It's like, that's because what their media is telling them. That's what their Democrat politicians are telling them. From the school age, your crazy green-haired teachers are warping your little brains with little mixing bowl, like just turning them into mush. Like, this isn't good. This is toxic to a society. Jocelyn saying that this policy would only cause more division. Will the taxpayers be happy to give $5 million to someone whose ancestor was a slave? I don't think so. Stephanie chimes in to paraphrase the Maynard James Keenan genius in Anima. We can watch California burn down from Arizona. Watch it burn down from Arizona.
Bill
learn
Hicks.
to swim.
Bill Hicks,
learn to swim. Canadian. See you down in Arizona Bay. Exactly.
Right. Well, Bill Hicks made an album about that, I think, in the early 90s. And then I think James Maynard Keen, is that his name?
Maynard James
Maynard James Keen. Okay.
Yes, he took that Bill Hicks riff and kind of worked it into this song. MJ Sedona saying Cliff High is predicting that the first week of May, banks will be imploding and failing. It only takes 10% of the bank's customers to take their money and close their accounts to create a bank run. Oh, now that's just super.
He's an interesting character. He's a paranoid schizophrenic, but he's also really, really smart, and he's a software genius, and he has like a predictive programming type of thing where he can, I don't know, pick up like emotional stress signals from people off into the future based on language pattern. I forget exactly. Maybe we should try to get him on the show sometime.
I'm not familiar with him.
Quite a character.
We shall talk about him. Let's wrap up the show on one final character, one final point, and we will get going for today.
Okay.
Some of these stingers are louder than others in the headphones.
Yes.
Like, agree or disagree?
That's a natural sound. I'll have to switch that one because I think it had some cheesy corporate jingle.
No, it's good. I think compared to the volume you're coming in at, my levels have that maybe double of that of your voice. So I'm used to your voice and where this is at. And then when that comes in, it goes, I'm like, geez, I just kind of jump back a little bit. So final question, Blake, do you agree or disagree? Because I like the sound. The sound's cool. Maybe we got to just lower the volume just a little to modulate it. Do you agree or disagree, Blake? Final question. Are you confident that the real John Fetterman will please stand up and return to work by the end of April? Agree or disagree? You're confident the real Fetterman will return to work by the end of April, which is just on the horizon here, next couple of weeks.
I guess I'm gonna say disagree. I'll believe it when I see it. So he's been in the Walter Reed Medical Hospital for a long time. Some
Allegedly.
people there's a lot going on. Whether some people say he's dead or he's brain dead or he's under the treatment, it gets you to be in the right care. So when they came out, taking a picture with his wife, and he looked very different.
Now they're saying I looked for context in that, and it said that picture that looks different was taken 6 months ago. Now I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I did read a little bit of disclaimer there. But whatever I was seeing side by side does not look the same. Shape of the head, shape of the earlobes. We got into this yesterday briefly about clones and Biden and Damar Hamlin and just, what's happening in the movie The Matrix and advances in artificial intelligence and technology. I mean, we're at the point, the singularity at this point, where everything is merging into one. So what is the difference anyway? But yeah, we haven't really seen any sort of significant signs of life from John Fetterman since he disappeared. We saw a couple of still photographs that prove nothing. We don't know when they were taken, and we don't know how he's doing cognitively. But he's clearly unwell. He's clearly unfit to serve. He can't continue this. He's not there. So it's just a matter of how long are the people going to allow someone who's unable to do the job to take up that space? That's a great question. It raises another question. How bad does Dr. Oz have to be to lose to this guy? Once again, you get to the Trump thing and you go, did Trump really lose to Biden? If you're talking about incontinent old men that don't even know what's going on, meat sacks, weekend at Bernie's being propped up. I'm just kind of wondering what condition causes your wife to freak out and leave the country. I'm trying to understand that story, Blake. Like, it seems like she may have gotten different, at least in my heart of hearts. It seems more likely than not that there was more to the story and that we're not really getting the right story here. Are you cool with the official story, or are your spidey senses tingling? Do you think there may be some strange play afoot?
I think they got every reason to do a cover up if there's something going on, especially if he's dead or brain dead and they don't want to admit that. So yeah, pictures are one thing. I don't know if that was from 6 months ago. I guess it could have been, but yeah, definitely there's problems and people saying that maybe it's different lenses or something, but I don't know how that makes your ears change that much, or the whole narrowing of the face. That doesn't seem like what it looked like while he was on the campaign trail or in the debates or anything like that. So I'm skeptical. So until I see him talking and in DC and showing up and they can do that a new op, then I'm gonna be skeptical.
What did he say? What's his famous quotation? Is it good night and goodbye?
I don't remember.
I think good night and goodbye. Like that's how
he it was the worst debate ever, and it was amazing that anybody would have voted for him under those circumstances. He's clearly there is to, as they said, be a rubber stamp for the Biden administration, and he's not all there.
Well, so, I mean, is Biden a rubber stamp for the Obama administration? This is the third Obama term. I have said this from day one. He's just the puppet. Obama's pulling the strings, but Soros is pulling the strings behind him, and someone's pulling the strings behind Soros. But we're clearly identifying the key players now. Like it's getting pretty obvious who's making the decisions that are making nothing better for anybody anywhere. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Jocelyn says it also allows your staff to pretend that you're still coherent and you can co-sponsor legislation. Yes. What is this? She says it's a rare side effect of post-stroke depression. It will elongate your face, break your nose, flatten your ears, narrow your eyes around your chin, and give you an actually pleasant smile. Oh Lord, I'm not laughing at his medical condition. It's so absurd, and we've been lied to about all of the important things for so long. It's just impossible to believe a single damn thing that any of these clowns have to tell us. So we go back to the Ronald Reagan theory of trust but verify. Okay, I can trust, but now I need you to verify. Let's get Fetterman. Let's have a back and forth conversation, and let's see how it goes, because it wasn't going well before he broke down. If that car wasn't driving well before it started smoking on the highway, I mean, is it doing better now or is it doing worse? I couldn't imagine it doing better, but I mean, we'll see. I'd like to verify I want to take this car for a test drive, please. I'm not buying this. I'm not paying the title and getting a transfer to the DMV without going for a test drive. Thank you very much. I want to see the Carfax on John Fetterman. Thank you very much. Okay, well, that's pretty much essentially what I wanted to get to for the day. Did you have any other thoughts, or are there any other loose stories floating around on your taskbar out there that you wanted to mention on your way out the door, sir?
No, I think this is wraps it up perfectly. We're right in that 90-minute window.
We're
this next minute, so I think that
getting good at this.
Yeah,
finding a rhythm. Yeah, Jocelyn says time for a DNA sample, of course, and that the new Fetterman does not have the neck knob either, like the Frankenstein.
That was weird. Yeah,
it's all weird. Make sure you are following Blake Walley. He's on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley, WALLEUY. And yeah,
it's at thenextlevelnews.com, where I will have a lot of these shows.
Oh, here, let me do this. I can't change it. Oh yeah, wait, I can hide it. Here we go. At TV's Blake Walley and at www.thenextlevelnews.com. Here, let's save this and put this up. How does this look, Blake? This is your new underneath your name here. There you go. At thenextlevelnews.com. There we go. So do that. Please make sure you sign up for our podcast. It's on the podcast places. That's cool. We need to boost those numbers. We got rookie numbers. Do it on Rumble too. The New American Media at American_media_ on Twitter, youtube.com/The New American Media, Patreon, The New American Media, find The New American Media, all of the awesome places. So Blake, signing out for now. This has been a special report on the indictment of former President Trump. We both kind of agree it could be a good thing for the country, not for the reason Democrats are hoping, because this isn't gonna hold any water. It's just going to galvanize, energize, and multiply the power of President Donald John Trump. This could backfire in the most spectacular of ways. So we're here for it, and we will discuss this next week. So until next time, we appreciate you. We love you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.
Thanks,